Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my Daily News X. I'm your host, Kramer, coming to you today with a fascinating and a slightly mysterious topic. The interstellar visitor known as a 3I Atlas, and why there's increasing buzz and frustration around one key question. Why hasn't NASA released all the images and the instrument data yet? What might be going on behind the scenes, and what are the experts and UFO enthusiasts saying? And also, what's the latest update on this comet's behavior? So let's dive right in so we can understand better the situation and what's going on with this comet. So what do we know about 3I Atlas? Well, it's the third confirmed interstellar object to pass through our solar system after Oumuamua and 2I Borisov. It was discovered on July 1st of this year via Atlas Sorbet telescope in Chile. Now, what are some of the features of this comet? Well, it's traveling on a hyperbolic trajectory, and it's coming from outside the solar system and will leave again. It will make its closest approach to the sun around late October of this year, about a 1.4 astronomical units from the sun, just inside Mars orbit, and will not come especially close to Earth because it's actually leaving, going away, and the closest will be is at 1.8 astronomical units, so it's not a threat. Astronomers using the James Webb Space Telescope, plus the Hubble Telescope and the SPHERES mission, have already gathered data about this comet. They have a spectroscopic information and infrared imaging and more details. Some odd behaviors of this comet, for example, is that the coma surrounding gas and dust envelope is dominated by CO2 relative to water, which is unusual for a comet. And also we have the size estimates are still in the debate because as early as August, some people, they say it was like 7 miles long. And then they came up with the idea later or suggested that it was about 3.58, roughly, the size of Manhattan City. So a very rare and scientifically exciting object. It gives us a chance to peek at something that formed somewhere else in the galaxy with a different origin story than comets in our own solar system. Now, why the image and data release delay from NASA? And what might NASA be hiding from this? Okay, so now the heart of the matter. Why haven't all the images and instrument records been publicly released yet? Well, some of the reasons may be a little skeptical and maybe technical. And some of the reasons may be because they don't have all the pictures or raw data complete yet. But the number one reason is possible technical and logistical reasons. Observational data pipelines take time. Data from the JWST, Hubble, SPHERES, and ground telescopes must be processed, calibrated, and cleaned. Some features like the faint coma tails and the jets are subtle and need careful work. Also, we have a scheduling and mission resources because 3Y Atlas is moving fast with limited windows for optimal observation. Also, many missions have different priorities. Sharing the best images might require coordination. Proprietary data. Some researchers have proprietary data periods for new observations, so they can publish it first before full public release. We also have visibility constraints when it comes to this. At perihelion, the comet will be near the sun in Earth's skies, making observations difficult or impossible from many vantage points. Now, why the critics are concerned or suspicious about all this? Well, some believe the delay is too long given the scientific importance. This is a rare interstellar object, and many want to see the images and raw data as soon as possible. Ufology communities and some independent observers say, if this object is really weird, and it is, I believe it, maybe some data are being held back because they might challenge conventional models. For example, the unusually high CO2 to H2O ratio, or unusual jets outgazing in strange directions. Some speculate could this object be artificial or partially so, or contain features that scientists don't want to rush into public domain until more reviews have been done about this. For instance, there was a paper by Avi Loeb from the professor at Harvard University suggesting as a thought experiment this might be alien technology. The perception of NASA hiding something tends to grow when there are gaps between media reports of what telescopes have seen, like close-ups, shots, and was publicly released. If an orbiting Mars probe or other spacecraft had closer views, but the images haven't come up yet, people start wondering why. So, what might actually be going on? It may be simple that the best quality image from close flyby spacecraft, for example, orbiters around Mars or probes near Jupiter, are still under analysis, or the teams haven't yet finished extracting them, verifying the information and the data before being released. Coordination across multiple agencies' missions may be also another delay. Some of the data could be ambiguous or require cautious phrasing, especially if findings are surprising. So scientists often hold back until robust and more peer review is done to avoid premature speculation. Some images might show features that raise more questions than answers, and teams might prefer to publish context simultaneously rather than let raw images be disseminated without explanation to avoid misinterpretation. So, why experts and ufologists are very unhappy about all this? Well, the experts, astronomers, and comet scientists are impatient to get full data sets so they can run their own analysis, test hypotheses about composition, origin, age, and so on. They want the raw data and high-level data as soon as possible. Ufologists and alternative research communities are even more vocal about this. They feel mainstream science agencies are being too conservative, too slow, or even political constrained. They see the unusual attributes of 3I Atlas, like, for example, speed and composition, anomalies and size, and argue that something big is being missed or suppressed. For example, the article suggesting the 3I Atlas emits a metal alloy. So they were saying that it has a nickel without iron. In other words, we never seen that before. So this is very critical to know about this comet. Public concern emerges because when scientists say no threat to Earth, but images and data are being delayed, people wonder if there's a risk or if findings are being smoothed over. Meanwhile, optimists believe this object could unlock secrets of other stars' systems, or even life signatures, so they're keen to see everything released ASAP. So in short, I don't think there's any evidence that NASA is intentionally hiding aliens or spacecraft or anything else. But I do see the perfect storm of highly unusual object, and technical and logistical delays and all the blah, blah, blah. Public eagerness to know more about this and just speculative information in communities or the media talking about this. But until now, it's just a speculation. We have to wait for the right information. Now, I want to hear something from you guys. If you could ask NASA or the observing teams one question about 3I Atlas, what it would be? Do you lean towards thinking that this is just a strange natural interstellar comet, or do you think there's more going on? Would you like to see the raw images released publicly, even if they're messy, or do you prefer the process noted better versions? So feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments, please, or discussion boards of this podcast, because I'll be highlighting some of this on my next episodes, maybe talking about next week. So bottom line, guys, right now, 3I Atlas is an extremely exciting visitor, an interstellar comet, whizzing throughout our neighborhood and arriving with unusual chemistry and lots of scientific questions. NASA and partner missions are working on it, but the delay in releasing all the imagery and data is causing frustration among experts, and I get it, I understand. The truth is likely a mix of technical hurdles, caution, coordination, rather than just a grand cover-up by the high stakes. So what we could learn about other star systems and other origins mean everyone's watching very closely, not just only NASA. So get into different systems. If you have your own telescope, you can do the same thing, watch it throughout, and closely. So we'll be monitoring this for any major image and data drops from NASA, or collaborating with observatories, and I'll bring you more updates as soon as this surface. Until then, keep looking up, and stay curious. Thanks for joining in to my Daily News X today. I'm your host, Kramer, signing off. And as always, stay tuned stay informed, and keep asking questions. Have yourself a great day.